Why, hello there. My name is Kelly Rice, though I write under the pen name K.M. Rice. K for Kelly, Rice for Rice, and what the M stands for, you'll never know. Chances are, if you're watching this, you're actually not coming to this video because I'm an author, but rather because you know my Tolkien-inspired alter ego, Keely, on Happy Habit, which is awesome. Thank you for watching. For those of you who don't actually know me, I wrote this book, and I wrote that book, and I wrote that book. Actually, I've also written 6 other books that aren't out. I have also written more screenplays than I can count, which you will unfortunately likely never read. As a writer and a developer of IP, I have also worked for the mysterious startup Magic Leap, and their partners in crime, What a Workshop, who you may be familiar with as the Kiwis in New Zealand, who brought you Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, Avatar, and most recently, Krampus. Unfortunately, as with many writers in the industry, I'm under non-disclosure agreements, which means I can't actually tell you any details about those projects. But that's alright, because there are still K.M. Rice books you can look at. Or more than look at. You could read them. You could buy them and then read them. Then I'll get $1 for like each book you buy. Now, I can't really tell the story of how I became a writer. I didn't really become a writer. Just as soon as I knew how to write, I started writing. I wrote and illustrated my first book in kindergarten. It got me sent to the principal's office. I was fairly certain I hadn't broken the law, but I really didn't know. I sat there nervously as the principal spun around in her chair and smiled at me with her red lipstick and had me read the story to her. Afterwards, she gave me a sticker and wrote on a post-it note that I did a great job. Still have it. That first book was about a trick-or-treater dressed up as a devil who knocked on the door of a haunted house. Sound familiar? My writing credentials include winning every story contest in the 4th grade, which I also illustrated. I've won multiple creative writing awards throughout my life. Most recently, as an adult, I've won national screenwriting competitions and placed pretty well in international competitions, so I get to call myself a national award-winning writer, which sounds, you know, pretty legit. Never mind the fact that I actually am like this most of the time. In fact, that's probably the best reason for doing this vlog. I get to wear all these cute tops that normally would never see the light of day because I don't go out. I hope you're enjoying this vlog so far. I don't really know what I'm doing. I never really know what I'm doing. I just kind of do it, and then I hope that things turn out alright, and mostly they have. And for that reason, though, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to upload these to a set schedule because I wake up in the morning and I have no freaking idea like who I am, where I am, what's going on. And I kind of like it that way, and my life is so hectic sometimes that it's going to be a disservice to you to promise to upload on a certain day. So if you could subscribe, you'll get notified when I do upload, and I will do my best to bring you new content because who else is going to listen to me? I call these my pedo glasses. Ever since writing my first story in kindergarten, I've realized that my life has kind of gone in a pattern of trying to fulfill this urge to entertain. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe I'm a narcissistic psychopath. However, I've always wanted to make people laugh. I've always wanted to tell stories. Ironically, most of my books are not funny. They have funny elements in them. Most of my books are a bit gritty, but that's okay because that's also life. But as a child, other than writing my little books, I also had my trusty Fisher-Price tape recorder with me all the time, where I was the host of an imaginary radio program, constantly interrupted by a man who wanted my job named Bonjo. Brilliant name, don't know why that hasn't taken off. And I interviewed my siblings, my parents, my friends, my animals. Let's be honest here, mostly myself, talking in different voices as different people. And I was just the queen of this audio realm. Then once I got old enough to use the camera, I made my first video, which was an infomercial for a fictional back cream called Rivavolt, promising to get rid of your back pain.
Back pains. What you need is Riverbolt.
From then on, I enslaved my younger siblings and friends and made a series of parodies, which all eventually culminated in the web show Happy Hobbit, which strives to bring Middle-earth to your daily life with your hosts, Keely and Feely, which you can find on YouTube. For those of you unfamiliar with my work, I'll give you a brief lowdown on what I've done. Darkling was my debut novel, however it actually was not the first book I ever wrote. The first book I ever wrote is part of a series that hasn't even been released yet. But Darkling is a standalone, and it's a coming-of-age tale about a young woman who sacrifices everything to try to save her village and her people, and it's also about the power that comes from first love. So if you like a spooky tale, you may want to consider giving it a read. My second release is a novella called The Wild Frontier. Now, while Darkling is technically a dark fantasy that has elements of horror in it, The Wild Frontier is strictly a historical fiction piece. And it is also a much more lyrical and poetic style of writing that I kept it short because I didn't think that people would indulge me enough to continue with an entire novel set in that tone. It is a story about two siblings heading across the frontier and how a young woman awakens her wildish nature by being in the rugged landscape and exposing herself to the rawness of her being in nature and in love. The Country Beyond the Forests has undeniably the most boring cover out of all my books. But maybe you won't judge it by that. You probably will. You probably will judge it by that. There's always the slight chance that you'll be open-minded. It is so named because the longest short story within it is a piece of historical fiction set in Romania during the First World War. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Now, the stories in here range from the fantastical, to the historical, to the futuristic, science fiction, fantasy, parody. There's a lot of comedy in there, and the poetry sort of speaks for itself. They're all brief poems. So if you're looking for something that has a lot of variety, I definitely recommend The Country Beyond the Forests.
And guess what? I'll sign all of these for free.
So, that brings me to my author vlog. I started this based on the suggestion of a wonderful supporter of mine and reader named Siobhan, and when she threw the idea out there, I realized, why haven't I thought of this before? This is what I do. And the answer is because my author self is completely different than my Happy Hobbit self or any other version of me that you'll see. And as other writers know, writing is a very intimate activity. It involves your heart and your soul, and it is a bigger risk to put that part of yourself out there. But I've already done it 3 times. So I decided I'll take this risk. And I'll just be, myself. A frickin' weirdo. And I'll see what other frickin' weirdos want to come and join in the party. Because it is a party. Trust me, it's a party. It's a party every day. This is Linda. I'll get to Linda. Linda will be another episode. So if you like what you're seeing here, please consider buying one of my books. If I can entertain you on video, there's always the minuscule chance that I can entertain you with words. And if you want to support me, please consider purchasing either directly from me or directly from CreateSpace. Otherwise, I get a tiny, tiny royalty. Well, I guess that's it. So for now, me and this random stuffed hedgehog are signing out. See you next time. Now, the idea to start this vlog was presented to be The idea to do this vlog was suggested to me by a dear reader. Because I'm a author. However, most of writing isn't based around being ridiculous as that sounds.